Hello, fabulous superstar Sagittarius. Welcome to your horoscope for the month of August 2023. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. It is a remarkable astrological month, without a doubt. Big moves happening in the sky now. Boy, is this a very special time. This month is a blue moon month, meaning that we are going to have two full moons, one that starts the month and another to end it. It's that second full moon that is the blue moon. And when we have a blue moon month, it does suggest a time that can feel a little bit like a roller coaster. It can feel like there's a lot of emotion and that we are looking at those things that are true for us on an emotional level, being honest with ourselves about what we really feel in different areas of life. So let's take it one at a time, sandwich in between. We've also got a new moon as well. So there's lots to talk about here. The full moon that we begin the month with takes place in a communicative part of your sky, having to do with sharing, teaching, writing, speaking. It has to do with your sense of synchronicity, your openness to synchronicity, which is being in the right place at the right time, connecting with the right person, and it can make all the difference now. It is about communications of all kinds, whether that's in writing or in conversation, about what is being understood, what is being taught, what is being learned. It is this part of the sky that, in a more practical way, speaks to your siblings, cousins, neighbors, and your immediate neighborhood involvement as well. And so this can be a remarkable and special energy. Full moons tend to be times that illuminate your connection to these types of people and to the community around you, given where this full moon is taking place. This full moon will be making a quick moving alignment with Mars. So chances are there's going to be an element there of needing to respond or react to some stimulus. At the same time, we've got that square happening to Jupiter. And that says overdoing it. And so, especially where it comes to how well you're taking care of you, you want to make sure you're finding that right balance. If it is very quickly, you're finding yourself needing to be present for, pay attention to a matter with a sibling, cousin, or a neighbor, there is that right balance you can find. It's possible that you may go way overboard, and then you're sort of reminded that, okay, you've got to take a moment for yourself and do what it is that self-care involves for you. But it could also be that one of these people just kind of pushes your buttons. They say something that gets a rise out of you. And then you get a chance to step back and reflect and focus more on your own life to make the most of this time. If it is that you, as part of what you share, what you do professionally, if it is that you teach or you write or communication is involved in that, well, your work-related matters could come into focus where it may feel like very quickly you need to respond or pay attention to a matter and maybe pour a lot of energy, especially mind-level energy, to make sure that a particular task or responsibility is met. Now, with synchronicity being especially high, this can be an important time where in those spontaneous moments as you're moving through your life, you're able to have that sense of stimuli, have that sense of awakening, but it also opens up a sense of confidence, if not overconfidence at this time. If it is that part of what awakens for you is this awareness around what you have to share. Like, again, let's say you write, let's say there's something you really want to teach. This full moon can represent a deluge of ideas that are coming forward. So this can actually be a wonderful time for things like brainstorming and just getting whatever it is within you on that level of mind, communication, language, getting it out to figure out how you're going to use it to your advantage. It is on the 16th of this month that we will have this month's new moon. And this new moon takes place in a worldly part of your sky, having to do with long distance travel, immigration, citizenship, higher learning, legal matters are covered here, and the personal, philosophical, spiritual, political beliefs that help you to make sense of the world, that guide your life in some way. And so you can see here that this is the part of the chart where you're opening yourself up to what it is that you might want to put into place, that you hope will help you to manifest bigger and better in the fullness of time. Now, key distinctions about this very powerful new moon. It is close in the sky to Venus retrograde. And so there may be an element there of the familiar, of going back in some way, asking yourself some more profound questions as to whether or not there is love here in terms of your understanding of where you are, metaphorically or literally. But we've also got a square, a tight configuration with Uranus, and that is a massive wild card factor. That is a sense of being surprised by what it is that can just show up seemingly out of nowhere to surprise you. Now, there might be an element there that eventually leads to a sense of freedom and lightness, but chances are in the moment, it's not necessarily going to feel like an easy surprise. Now, this just might be you feeling like your beliefs are in some way challenged. That's possible here. And then that's something that's much more about you going on that personal exploration to be clear about what it is you believe, but also be open to the journey ahead. But in very literal ways, this could be one of those moments where very quickly you're needing to pay attention to a matter having to do with these areas of life I just mentioned. If it is that you're doing long distance traveling, make sure you're staying open to the possibility that things could change, plans could change, and you might end up on paths that you did not expect. But that can actually work out to your advantage. I would know about that. But at the same time, this part of the sky having to do with immigration, citizenship, legal matters, big legal contracts, you may need to very quickly pay attention to something like that. The fact that we do have Venus so close to this new moon, and Venus right now, retrograde, is at the height of her powers in some way, and that she is closer to the earth than she might otherwise be. And what that suggests is blessings are with you. If it is that you stop to appreciate for a moment how it is that you are holding blessings in this moment, well, you'll be able to look at any surprise factor that might show up, not necessarily, but these areas that I just mentioned might be a factor. You'll be able to address it that much more quickly, bringing resolution that much more quickly as well. Now, if it is that you are in an institute of higher learning, there might be something that you need to pay attention to there. In some cases, it may feel as if faculty or students, that some erratic behavior plays out there that you really didn't expect, and you get to decide the best way forward for you from there. If you find yourself presented with a new world view or something you really want to study or learn more about, that can be part of what takes you and maybe others around you by surprise as well. Now, navigating to the end of the month, we have our second full moon. Our blue moon will be taking place at the foundation of your chart, having to do with your past, having to do with your living situation, having to do with your family of origin. Now, this full moon is rather interesting. It is also making a quick moving alignment with Mars, just like the full moon we started the month with did. And so what that suggests is whatever does arise, it needs to be addressed rather quickly. Saturn is close in the sky to this full moon. And so there is an element here of maturity, responsibility, and acceptance that could be taking place for you now. If it is that you have been looking to buy, sell, or attract a new roommate, I do need to preface all this by saying we do have Mercury retrograde by this time. On the 23rd of this month, Mercury will retrograde at the top of your sky, having to do with career, social standing, life purpose. And what that suggests is just when you think you know where you're going with your career, you may either change your mind. It might end up being something very different. Opportunities you thought were gone could come back around. And if that in any way might influence your living situation, you might want to be mindful of that, especially as we get to the end of the month. For all that though, there might be a desire for you to make changes on the home front. Could just be repairs or aesthetic changes. So be on the lookout for that. Whatever you do, chances are it's part of the structure. It may feel necessary in some way. There might be a strong desire to go home, to be home, however it is that you understand that. A desire to work from home could feel like that is what you want to be doing, or maybe working on projects in your own time and space as well. This is an opportunity for you to get clear as to what home is for you, but also to do so from a place of maturity. It's an opportunity to take on greater responsibility, but also as a result, experience a renewed sense of self-respect along the way. Now, where it comes to matters of love, I mentioned the fact that we do have Venus retrograde. That is an energy that is playing out throughout this month. Actually, as we get to the end of the month, Venus will appear to be standing still in the sky, and in the first days of next month will go direct. And so we've got this powerful Venus retrograde energy that magnifies more and more as we get to the end of the month. It is so much about how the philosophies that you have around love, how do they show up in real time? Is your reality matching what it is that you believe about love in a higher sense? And what is it to be ethical in love? Chances are these questions and perhaps glimpses into answers start to be illuminated for you, especially mid-month when we get that new moon so close to Venus. A new insight, a new understanding can make all the difference for you now. For those of you open to meeting someone new, I know I've been saying the international love, that's all about what might find you at this time. So stay open to the prospects and the possibility, but ultimately there might be an element there of somebody new that you connect with in the middle of the month, where you might be asking yourself whether or not it's ethical to go down this road, or it might be that this person just has a very different view, a world view than you do. And some of the things they believe just might feel uncomfortable to you. So again, you get to ask yourself whether or not that works for you. For those of you just starting to date someone, you may learn things about what this person really believes about the world, philosophically, spiritually, religiously, and it may leave you with more questions. Now, for some, that questioning is going to be oriented around, wow, I really want to know more about this. But for others, it's going to be oriented around, wow, I think this just might be a deal breaker. There's strong emotions taking place, especially in the middle of the month. That new moon happening on the 16th of the month is going to stir a sense of what it is that you really believe, getting clear on that, and where someone else can match you, where someone else is showing you that they are an ethical person, well, then there is a pathway forward. But if you don't see those qualities, well, it might be something to take into consideration as part of figuring out whether or not this is someone to navigate forward with. And for those of you in an established bond, what a remarkable time this can be. In the context of established bonds, this could be a time when the two of you are looking at taking on some adventure together. But there's also this wild card, unexpected factor that can be thrown into the mix. So if it's showing up in very practical ways, it's about maybe something you want to do and then your partner changes their mind, and something you'd hope that the two of you could experience together in a larger sense, and your partner has different ideas. So that can be one way this energy plays out. Another is that if you guys had travel plans, they might change very quickly without either of you intending it to be that way. But also possible here is that if you or your partner has been on a spiritual exploration as of late, the disconnect or some discontent around that and how it might be influencing your relationship might show up at this time as well. What I love about this week for you, there's so much here. It's a valuable and meaningful astrological moment. I am going to say, I love how the energy is moving in a direction of you coming home to yourself. As much as we have energy that's about your neighborhood and those spontaneous actions as you start the month, and then the energy becomes so worldly mid-month, it is as we get to the end of the month that you are starting to connect to an understanding that home is right where you are, in your own body, in your own skin. Having that appreciation ultimately will be profoundly grounding. It roots you in ways that can be so rewarding that they help you to feel strong from the inside out, navigating forward from here. Well, thank you so much for watching. You can get a video like this each and every week for each and every sign for as low as just $3 a month with Choose Your Membership rate at NadiyaShahSuperstars.com, where you get expanded, exclusive horoscopes, class passes to Synchronicity University events, consultations with me, and so much more. All of this in the Superstar space at NadiyaShahSuperstars.com. Links are in the description below. Thank you again for watching. It'll be a great month. Enjoy.